better when we're together. Yeah, we'll look at the stars when we're together. Well, it's all...
G'day guys, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitar Zero to Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play Better Together by Jack Johnson, which is a great acoustic tune. If you want to practice bar chords, then this is a perfect song for doing that. I will warn brand new beginners though, this might be frustrating for you if you're not good at bar chords yet. But luckily, I'll teach you an easier version as well in this lesson. So the first method is going to be the way Jack Johnson plays it exactly. And then the second method is a much easier and simplified version for the beginners out there. Now, if you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to guitarzerotohero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Or if you want to improve on your guitar in general, then sign up to Guitar Zero to Hero Premium, which is my complete step-by-step guitar course. Let's jump into the lesson. All right, so let's start with the intro riff, which is a lot of fun to play. Now, first off, you'll need to hit the 10th frets of the 4th and 3rd string. You can do that with either of your fingers. You can do middle and ring, or you could do index and middle, or you could do ring and pinky. I like doing ring and pinky. You could also just bar your index finger across those two strings as well, but that's completely up to you. But I like using my ring and pinky here, so just do whatever's more comfortable for you. Now, the trickiest part about this intro is that it's got a swing feel to it, which might throw people off in terms of timing and how long the slides are supposed to hold for. Now, swing feel means that the downbeats are held a little bit longer than the upbeats. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's in comparison with just regular feel where it'll just be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So notice the difference there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Versus 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's the first thing to consider. And then the second thing to consider is that this riff actually starts on the end beat after the 1. It doesn't start on the downbeat. And when I personally realized this, the riff came a lot easier. So on the end beat after the 1, you'll start by hitting the 4th string and sliding up to the 12th fret. So all the notes in this first phrase are at our swung 8th notes. So 1 and 2. So after we've slid up to the 12th fret, we'll pluck the 3rd string. So 1 and 2 and then because the end beats are quick, we'll quickly then go back to our 4th string. We'll hit that and slide back down to the 10th. But remember, the downbeats are held a bit longer, so that's why we're gonna stay on this 12th fret for a little bit and then quickly slide down to the 10th. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. On the 4 beat, we'll pluck the 3rd string. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. On the end beat, we'll hit the 4th string again and then slide down to the 7th fret. So this whole time, you'll be pushing your fingers down on the strings. There's no point where you'll be lifting your fingers. Have them pushed down the whole time and sliding up and down. So as we hit that 4th string, we'll slide down to the 7th fret. And then we'll hit the 3rd string there, and then back to the 4th string and slide down to the 5th fret. And at this point, we're going to be holding that 5th fret note that we've slid down to for a full beat and not just an 8th note. So that's where we'll cut off this particular phrase. And it's not a bad idea to count along, because that will help you with the feel of this intro, which is tricky if you don't understand the basics behind this rhythm. But anyway, remember, count with a swing feel. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And a little bit slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. For the next little phrase, there's just 2 plucks. So we're gonna pluck the 3rd string on the end beat after the 3, and then on the 4 beat, we'll hit the 4th string and slide back up to the 7th fret, and we'll hold that note out for a full beat. So, and 4, and 1. And then for the next phrase, we'll do the exact same thing, but from the 7th fret up to the 10th fret. So, and 2, and 3. On the end beat after the 3, we'll do the exact same thing, but slide from the 10th fret up to the 12th. And 4, and 1. For the next phrase, we'll do the same thing, but we'll slide back down to 10. And 2, and 3. And then to end this riff, we'll just hit the 3rd string and 4th string on this 10th fret and slide out. So, and that's on the end beat after the 3. And 4, and. I don't want to confuse you too much with all this rhythm talk, but trust me, it does really make playing this accurately a lot easier if you've got that swing feel to it. And in total for this riff, it will sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 a little bit faster. 1. Next we get to the main chord progression, and we just have one line of tab here, and there's a whole bunch of bar chords. Now, first off, I just want to sort of teach you the strumming method that Jack Johnson uses. Now, you don't have to do this. You can sort of use your own strumming method and use a pick, but I thought I'd be as accurate as possible in this Jack Johnson version. But of course, you could just use a guitar pick and do something similar as well. But this is how he plays it, and you get that really cool beachy vibe. So let's just take a C major bar chord like this, and I'll demonstrate the strumming pattern using this chord first, and then we'll dive into the actual chords. The strumming pattern at the end of the day is effectively just a down, up, slap, up. So really simple at its core, but there's a few things to note. So first thing, the first down strum is typically just him hitting the bass note of whatever chord he's playing. So this is the C chord, so he's just hitting that bass note, the C, with his thumb, and then with his index finger, he has it ready to go sort of underneath the first string. So the up strum is played with his index finger, so down, up. And then the slap is effectively a down strum, but the way that he'll do this is that he'll flick his index finger, but at the same time, the thumb will just come down onto the strings like that. So it's a little bit of a two-part motion. Your thumb comes down onto the bass note string, but also your index finger flicks down because that will get it ready for the next upstroke. Now with this muted strum, it also helps to slightly lift the fingers on your fretting hand so that anything you hit will not ring out and you just get that muted noise. So temporarily just lift your fretting fingers from the bar chord and do that slap. And then the fourth part of this strumming pattern, the final up, is simply just another up strum with your index finger. And at this point you do apply pressure back down onto your chord. So let's break that strumming pattern up into 4 parts again. So it's the bass note, and then an up strum with your index, the slap where you temporarily lift your fretting fingers as well. And then after the slap, push your fingers back down on the fretting hand and do one more up strum. And all together, so down, up, mute, up. And that is our strumming pattern we'll use basically throughout this whole song. That's the Jack Johnson method, at least anyway. If you were using a guitar pick, it would be similar. It'd just be a down, up, mute, up. But again, we have a swing feel here, so it's 1 and 2 and... Now let's get into the main chord progression. So we're going to start with an F bar chord like this. So index finger just on the 8th fret of the 5th string. It doesn't need a bar across the whole 8th fret. You just only need to hit that note. And with your ring finger barring across the 10th fret of the 4th, 3rd and 2nd strings. So we'll do one strumming pattern here. So down, up, mute, up. And then you're just going to slide your index finger down 1 fret. So this is an F/E chord. Play one pattern here, down, up, slap, up. And then we move to a D minor chord. So it's a bar chord like this. We play one pattern here, down, up, slap, up. Then we go down to a C bar chord. So it's the same as our F, but just down at 3rd and 5th frets. Down, up, slap, up. Then we go to our 6th string bar chords now. This is a B flat major bar chord. We play one pattern here, down, up, slap. And then we're going to go to a B flat/A, so just move your index finger down 1 fret. Now with this chord shape, your index finger is no longer barring, it's only hitting that 5th fret of the 6th string, and you're just playing up until the 3rd string, so down, up, slap, up. And you want to mute the 1st and 2nd strings. So for the B flat to the B flat/A, then we go to a G minor chord like this. We're going to play this for one strumming pattern. and then go up to the C chord and do the same. So the last 2 bars. One thing to note is that on the final up strum on these strumming patterns, you can just strum open strings lightly as you transition to the next chord. So for instance, the G minor to the C. You can use it as a transition period to get to your next chord. Just as long as you're keeping that rhythm constantly. And that's it for the main verse progression, which sounds like this. And that's just repeated again and again. Now the next thing to learn is the pre-chorus. Now this is just a slight variation to the main chord progression. So at our C, we'll play one strumming pattern here, but on the very final up strum, we're actually going to just slide our bar chord down 1 fret to a B chord. So down, up, slap, up. And that will take us into the chorus. So the final bar. All right, next we get to the chorus. There's 2 lines of tab here. So it's really simple. We're gonna start with our B flat bar chord, and we're gonna play 2 strumming patterns here. So down, up, slap, up, down, up, slap, up. We go up to our C and play that for 2 strumming patterns as well. But on the second strumming pattern, on that final up strum, we're gonna go down to the B, and that will sound like this. And all together for the bar. That's repeated through 3 times, and then the second line of tab is almost identical, except for the C chord, we're just playing it for 2 strumming patterns. We're not sliding down to that B. So the chorus in total. Now I have one little tip for your fretting hands in case they get really sore and tired playing all these bar chords for so long. And the tip is that you only really need to push down with your fretting hand on the chord when you're strumming it. For the muted strum, you can temporarily release your fretting hand so that you can give it a little bit of a rest before pushing it back down for that final up strum. And in a lot of cases, that final up strum, you'll be moving to the next chord anyway, so you won't really need to be pushing down. The next part of the song is the bridge, and it's really simple. There's just 2 lines of tab here. So we're going to start with our G minor chord here. We're going to play this for 2 strumming patterns. Then we'll go to our C for 2 strumming patterns. And that's going to be repeated through 4 times. For our second line of chords, we go up to our B flat for 2 strumming patterns. And then we go up to our C for 2 strumming patterns. That's played through 3 times, and then we go back to our B flat and back to our C, but when we go to the C, we're just strumming it out and holding it out for the full bar. That's it for the bridge. If you want to see it in action, then just skip to the playthrough at the end of this lesson. But the final thing to learn is the outro. Now, the outro has 2 lines of tab. The first line of tab is exactly the same as the intro. Now, the second line of tab, we're going to take things up to the 1st and 2nd strings. So again, you can either bar with your index finger or use a combination of any of your fingers. I use my ring and pinky. We're going to start at the 10th fret. Now, the timing and the principles behind this higher riff are identical to the first line of tab. So again, we're on the swing feel. We're going to start on the end beat after the 1. So for the first phrase, we start by plucking the 2nd string on the end beat after the 1. So 1 and 2, and we go up to the 13th fret, pluck the 1st string, then back to the 2nd string, slide back down to 10th, pluck the 1st string, on the end beat after the 4, hit that second string again and slide down to the 8th fret, pluck the first string, pluck the second string again, slide back up to the 10th fret. And that's our first phrase. And again, everything is swung, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And then we go first string, second string, slide up to 13th fret, hold that out, so and 4 and 1. And then we do the same from 13th up to 15th, and 2 and. Our next little phrase is 15th back to 13th, so and 4 and 1. And then the next phrase is 13th down to 10th, and 2 and 3. And then finally, we're going to go first string, second string, slide down to 8th, and then back up to 10th, and that ends the song. So, and 4 and 1. So in total, the second line of tab, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. And the outro in total. 1. And that's all the parts you need to learn for the studio version and the way that Jack Johnson plays it. Now I'm going to teach you the easy method of playing this song. Now first off, if you want to play the riff, then it's identical to the way I've taught it at the start of this lesson. So check that out if you want to learn the intro riff. But there is one difference, and that's because we're using a capo on the 5th fret. When we get down to the 7th fret here and want to go down to the 5th fret overall, we just need to pull off from the 7th fret to the 5th instead of sliding down. So, and the same is true when we go up to the 5th to back to the 7th. We have to hammer on instead of sliding up. So the riff with the capo involved will sound like this. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4. If you are a brand new beginner though, that might be a little tricky for you, so you can just cut that out and jump straight into the song chords, which is what Jack Johnson does a lot of the time when he plays this song live. He never really plays that intro riff. Let's start with the verse chords. Really simple, there's 2 lines of chords here. We'll start with the C chord. Now first off, I'll teach you the strumming pattern. It's really nice and easy, which is just a down, up, slap, up. Now the muted strum is a down strum, but what you're going to do is with the side of your hand, hit the strings at the same time that you're strumming, and therefore you'll get that muted sound. So you can practice this by doing a regular strum and then doing a muted strum by putting the side of your palm onto the strings. With the regular strum, you're not doing that. Only the pick makes contact with the strings, but with the muted strum, both your palm and your pick will make contact. So down, up, slap, up is our strumming pattern that we'll use throughout the whole song. So we have a C, then C major 7/B. So just lift your ring and middle finger, put your middle finger on the 2nd fret relative to the capo on the 5th string. And then we have an A minor, and then we go to a G chord. Now this is a lazy G chord, but we'll just play it with our ring and middle finger on the 3rd and 2nd frets of the 6th and 5th strings. And we'll just focus on strumming up to the 2nd string. So that's our G chord here, and the first line of chords. Then we'll go to our F chord. Now I like to play my F chord like this, but you can use the F bar chord too if you want. But for my F chord, ring and pinky finger on the 3rd frets of the 5th and 4th strings, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd, and index finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. And ideally, if you can, reach over with your thumb to hit the 1st fret of the 6th string. So we have F and then C/E. So it's the same as the C chord, except we can hit the open 6th string, then D minor, and a full G chord like this. So the second line of chords. then total for the verse chord progression. Next is the chorus, and this is really simple. It's just F for 2 strumming patterns and our G chord for 2 strumming patterns. So it'll sound like this. And that's repeated through 4 times, which is really nice and easy. The next thing to learn is the bridge, and it's really simple. 2 lines of chords. We have D minor for 2 strumming patterns, and then G for 2 strumming patterns. So the first line of chords. That line of chords is played through 4 times, and then the second line of chords is just F to G 4 times. So. And that's it for the bridge. Now for the outro, again, it's the same as what I taught for the regular version, but the only thing to consider is that you do have a capo on the 5th fret. So for the first line of tab, when you come down here, you will need to pull off to the 5th fret as opposed to sliding down to the 5th fret. But everything else is as I taught it in the studio version. But other than that, that's a really simple way of playing this song if the bar chords are too hard for you. So now I'll be doing 2 playthroughs of the song. First method is the Jack Johnson version, and the second method is the easier version. I'll have a vocal track on top as well. Feel free to play this back as many times as you'd like to practice playing along to and see how you go.
There's no combination of words I could put on the back of a postcard. No song that I can sing, but I can try for your heart. Our dreams, and they're made of real things, like a shoebox of photographs with sepia tone loving. Love is the answer, at least for most of the questions in my heart. Why are we here and where do we go? We're talking so hard. It's not always easy, and sometimes life can be deceiving. I'll tell you one thing, it's always better when we're together. It's always better when we're together. Yeah, we'll look at the stars when we're together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. Might find a way into my dreams tonight, but I know that they'll be gone when the morning light sings or brings new things. But tomorrow night you see that they'll be gone too. Too many things I have to do, but if all of these dreams might find their way into my day-to-day scene, I'd be under the impression I was somewhere in between. We don't want to, just me and you. Not so many things we got to do, or places we got to be. Was it beneath the mango tree now? Yeah, it's always better when we're together. Somewhere in between together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. I believe in memories, they look so pretty when I sleep. Hey, now and when I wake up, you look so pretty, sleeping next to me. But there is not enough time, and there is no song I can sing, and there is no combination of words I could say, but I will still tell you one thing, we're better together. There's no combination of words I could put on the back of a postcard. No song that I can sing, but I can try for your heart. Our dreams, and they're made of real things, like a shoebox of photographs with sepia tone loving. Love is the answer, at least for most of the questions in my heart. Why are we here, and where do we go, and how come it's so hard? It's not always easy, and sometimes life can be deceiving. I'll tell you one thing, it's always better when we're together. It's always better when we're together. Yeah, we'll look at the stars when we're together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. All of these moments just might find a way into my dreams tonight, but I know that they'll be gone when the morning light sings and brings new things. But tomorrow night you see that they'll be gone too. Too many things I have to do, but all of these dreams might find their way into my day-to-day scene. I'd be under the impression I was somewhere in between. We don't want to, just me and you. There's so many things we got to do, or places we got to be. We'll sit beneath the mango tree now. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. Somewhere in between together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. I believe in memories that look so pretty when I sleep. Hey, now and when I wake up, you look so pretty, sleeping next to me. But there is not enough time, and there is no song I can sing, and there is no combination of words I could say, but I will still tell you one thing: we're better together.
Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here, or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitarzerotohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.